up, everybody? It's Pastor Jay coming at you guys in a totally different way. It's a unique way. You're just hearing my voice, no video on today, on this morning. Whenever you're watching this or listening to it, rather, I just want to come to you guys in a different type of way today. It's been a great weekend. We've celebrated Independence Day, 4th of July. Had a great time with family, and even the past couple weeks, just had a good time to just relax and spend some quality time during these summer months. I hope everything is going well with everyone here. I know there's several people who I've talked to who've experienced some loss in their lives, and I'm certainly praying for you. I know that dealing with loss can be something that is a process. Dealing with grief is such a process. So for anyone who is going through something, they're battling, losing a loved one, and it's fresh, I want you to know something that as long as you're feeling something, it's okay. As long as you're feeling the feelings, go through it. You'll come out on the other side of it. I promise you that. I don't know when, but I do know that God always gives us grace when it comes to our feelings and when it comes to the challenges that we have. So I want you to know if you're going through a loss, I'm praying for you, and I hope that you stay encouraged. I've certainly enjoyed being in front of the camera, talking to you guys in that way. And right now, being behind the microphone, talking to you guys, encouraging you, uplifting you, those who have been tuning in to Illuminate Church on Saturday evenings, or you've been locked in with us on a daily basis for morning inspiration and prayer, for those who have jumped on the Wednesdays Bible study calls. I just want to thank you, everyone who's shared and supported anything that we've done. It is certainly my desire that you've been encouraged and that you've been helped. And during these times, the past few weeks, the direction I've just been going in is just really giving people tools and keys to really have a productive day. I really think sometimes, if I can just be real, if I can just get down to the nuts and bolts, I think sometimes church has become very much a place where it can be extremely legalistic, and it could be about a lot of do's and don'ts, rules and regulations, a lot of scriptures, a lot of interpretations, and not saying that those things are wrong, but when we boil it down, are we having a productive day, right? When we boil it down, are we getting through our days with mitigating friction, or how are we handling the friction in our day? How do we handle the changes that are coming in our lives and our careers? If we can all be honest that where you are right now in your career may not be the place where you desire to be, if we can all be honest about it. Or you might say, Pastor Jay, I'm starting a new job. I'm in a new place in my career, and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate this new area of leadership. Or you could say, I'm ready to get to a new level of leadership, and I don't know how to get there. And one of my goals as a teacher, as a leader, as a preacher, as a pastor, is to help you get through the everyday obstacles of life. And I feel as if I can give you those tools, if I can empower you in some kind of way, via a video, a voice, a memo, a note, a caption video, a post, a blog, a message, a sermon, I'm going to do that by any means necessary. See, this is what I'm called to do. I'm enjoying what I'm called to do inside of my purpose. And I just really want to just have like a candid conversation. I don't have any notes written down here. I don't have anything in front of me. I don't have a specific topic. Just kind of flowing And I really would love for you all to, if you really want to just have a candid conversation, please shoot me an email, Pastor J at illuminatechurchonline.com. I would love to have a candid conversation. If you would want to, drop me an email and set up a time we can hop on a Zoom call. But I really want to talk about this idea of purpose. And purpose is God's perfectly designed dream for you. And depending on what stage of your life you're in, you know that your purpose can always take some detours. I think about my major in college was music, and there was nothing you couldn't tell me about what I was going to do as a musician. I had all the dreams and desires to make albums, to write songs, to produce, to have songs that made it into movies, to have songs to make it into commercials, and to, have a song on the radio and all those things. I had all those big desires. And while there were some things that I wrote down that I wanted to see that didn't actually happen, if I go back and look on my list, I had a great deal of things that happened, great deal of things that actually did happen. I can look at my list and go, 3 out of 4 things, 4 out of 5 things. I can say, okay, my score sheet is looking pretty good on that front. And I remember being in college at Columbia College Chicago, studying music, and how it was the thing that just gave me life. It was the thing that gave me so much joy. It was the thing that I walked and talked and ate and breathed, and I really was excelling. And I got to a point where it was time for me to get ready to graduate. And the story is always funny when I think about it, but it's really kind of a testimony about, how God had to come in and intervene. I was preparing for my last semester of college, and come to find out, I was about 14 credit hours short, even my last semester. I had taken all the courses. I had done all my courses in my major. I had done everything that it required. I was still falling short of 14 credit hours. And I was frustrated. And needless to say, I didn't know how I was going to have this conversation with my parents. And it's actually a conversation that I never actually had to end up happening, because I want to give you this testimony. So I had a friend of mine, or peer of mine, in one of my classrooms that I was kind of explaining my situation, and he said, "Hey, did you ever apply for life experience credit?" And I didn't know what life experience credit was. I said, "Well, what's life experience credit?" He said, "It's just that." He said, "We go to a school where many of the people who are already in their field, in their majors, are already working in their field." He said, "I know that you do a lot of gigs. I know you do things already as a working musician. You should go see if there's any provisions that can be made for you for life experience credit." So I ended up going to see the head of my department, and I had a meeting set up with them. And I came in, I was ready to have a fight on my hands. Like, okay, he's not gonna give me the things that I'm asking for, so I'm already a little defensive. But I walk into the room, and I'm a little nervous, and I say, "Hey, I've been here 4 years, and I went to my academic advisor, and she tells me I'm 14 credit hours short of being able to graduate, and I heard something about life experience credit." And so when I said that to him, he pulls out a notepad and he starts to write. He starts to ask me questions. Now, it was interesting because he didn't even explain to me what life experience credit was. He didn't even go through the motions of trying to convince me of what he could or couldn't do. He just took out his notepad and started writing. He started asking me all kind of questions about what I had been doing. Now, let's put a pin in that real quick. And this is where it leads to purpose. During that time, I understood that music was the thing that was drawing me. That music was the thing that God was really building in me to create not just create an income, but to create um, life all around me, to bring people joy, to bring people happiness, to bring people a, a new place of connecting, and being able to be a musician at church, being able to work with choirs, being able to write songs, being able to travel. While I was in college, going to Italy, I was living my purpose while I was in college, right? And so my purpose at that time, God had a perfectly designed dream for me, even while I was in school. So this man was taking notes of everything that I had done, and by the time he was done talking, he had a paper and he signed it, and he said, "Congratulations, you graduated," just like that. And I left that room. I didn't I didn't want to show too much enthusiasm while I was in there. I told him thank you, but when I left, you know, I literally was in tears because just like that, God had fulfilled His promise in my life through my purpose. I want to just encourage someone right now who's dealing with where they are. You're dealing with purpose. You're dealing with your destiny. You're dealing with what you're trying to do. You're dealing with jobs. You're dealing with a business idea. You're dealing with, should I go back to school? You're dealing with, what should I do next? You're trying to do things that are creative, and it just seems like you keep hitting a wall. It seems as if like you're 14 or 15 credit hours short, just like me, right? You are like trying to finish the thing, but you keep falling short. You keep falling short. And the interesting thing about grace is what God gives us. It's that favor that He gives us that we don't deserve. And so if we're walking in fully in our purpose, that means that God's grace is always going to be sufficient. Where we run out, He will always make up the difference, right? And so now I think about where I am right now as a pastor, as a thought leader, as an innovator, as a business person. Anytime I think I'm falling short, I think of that story of how I went to this man and he gave me what I needed because I presented with him, I presented him all that I'd done. I poured my heart out, right? And because the head of the department knew me, he knew my work, he knew my work ethic, it was able for him to sign that thing off for me. I want to encourage you right now. We've been talking about this quantum leap for the past few weeks. And I just have a feeling. I have a gut feeling. I have a feeling, an intuition, discernment, a prophetic feeling in my mind that there's somebody that's going to be listening to this that's like literally 2 steps away, right? I could have gone one route and saying, well, let me go another semester and see about finishing. But there was something in me that said, no, I'm already done. I can't go any further. And somebody is at that point right now where you're just like an inch away from breakthrough, and you're just going to need that extra push. Like somebody's going to have to sign something for you. They're going to have to show you favor. They're going to have to show you grace. I want to encourage you that favor, that grace is coming. It is here. I want you to look for it. I want you to experience it. I want you to accept it, and I want you to walk into it freely. Yes, it's for you. I want you to believe that it is for you. I want you to receive that it is for you. I want you to accept that it is for you. It is for you. If you could write this down, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, if you're watching this on YouTube, it doesn't matter where you're watching this. I want you to write down right now that it is for me. Write down, it is for me. If you're listening to this in your car, I want you to say out loud, it is for me. If you're in your house and you're listening to this on your Alexa speaker or your Bluetooth or your AirPods, I want you to say, it is for me. right? It is for you. God's purpose is designed perfectly for you. So now, as I'm walking this thing out as a pastor, as a speaker, as a person that is looking to do something more, like I haven't thrown music away. Music is still a part of my purpose, but music is not the thing that I center my life around anymore. God said, okay, I know that you can do that. This thing will always be here. You will always have a gift in that. You will always be favored in that. Now let me open up some other doors to favor you in other places. So if you would allow for me to encourage you right now, look for some new areas of favor. Yep. I want you to look for new areas where you are going to be favored. I want you to seek those new areas out. Be intentful, like have the intent of seeking those new areas out. I promise you, something is there. There is some juice there. There is some juice left to be squeezed out of your purpose. There's some people who are saying, Pastor Jay, I'm at my wit's end. I can't do this thing anymore. And I want to tell you right now, you're at the right place. That is the best season to be in. It might sound crazy, but the best season to be in is to be at your wit's end, because starting something new, starting something fresh is going to give you a whole new level of insight. It's going to give you a whole new level of just enjoyment. Wow, I see you enjoying something new. I see you uh, being in a new phase. I see you being in a new place where people are going to respect you. They're going to hear your voice. They're going to respect your voice. They're going to see you as a leader. They're going to see you as a person who's accomplished. They're going to take your testimony and utilize that testimony to help leverage their next. So every time I get a chance to share my testimonies with people, it allows for them to leverage my testimony for their breakthrough. That is all our testimonies are for. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. The Lord allowed for his blood to be what leverages us to the next. And then he says, yeah, we're gonna use my blood as leverage, and then use your brother's testimony as leverage. When you use things as leverage, you're using it as collateral. You're using it as something that helps you get to your next, right? If you think about getting on a ladder, if you think about climbing up to a different height, you have to use every step on that ladder as leverage. If you don't have a step stool or a ladder, you can't get to the next thing. If you don't have something to help you hit the top shelf or get to the roof, you have no leverage. You're going to just be standing on the ground. So we have to use somebody else's testimony as fuel. We have to use it as motivation. I know a lot of people knock preachers who say they're motivational speakers, but here's what I say. I say preachers should be motivational speakers. Who else should be the motivational speakers? Who else should it be? Who else should it be? Right? Utilize the motivation that's coming out of men and women of God. Use the motivation that you've seen your mom and your dad go through, the testimonies that your parents and your grandparents have gone through. Use their story as leverage and motivation for you to get to your next. Let's stop putting church in such a box where it's, I only use church for this, and this is how I worship, but then when I go to work, I can't apply anything that I learned. No, we have to stop doing that. We have to leverage every single morsel of what we are learning. We have to leverage every single testimony. You got to think about the things that you have gone through. Here's a challenge I want you to do, and we're going to wrap it up. Here's a challenge. I want you to go through every single challenging moment that you can remember in your mind, right? Go back to third grade. Go back to the third grade spelling bee that you bombed, right? That you had the word lemonade and you spelled lemon wrong, right? Go back to that third grade spelling bee. Go back to the fifth grade track meet when you came in 8th place out of 8. Go back to that place and use those testimonies where you may have lost, but you took the loss and you learned from it. And begin to share your testimonies. Begin to open up to people. Begin to use your story as leverage. And not only that, let your story become a part of your purpose, which is God's perfectly designed dream for you. I hope you guys got something out of it. Shoot me an email. I want to talk to you guys. Shoot me a DM. My email is pastorj@illuminatechurchonline.com. I love coming to you guys like this in audio form. Feel free to save this. Feel free to share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Help them encourage their day. All right, guys, you be blessed.